If you're just joining us at part 3, don't worry. The first 2 parts provide a technical primer about how we've researched the runes, but it's not required to understand the findings. The Zonai, a civilization shrouded in mystery, left behind a legacy written in runes. Over the past 16 months, we've examined numerous details and sifted through their ancient texts to attempt to decode the secrets these runes hold. From the dense, fog-laden forest to Great Sky Island, we've followed every lead to bring you a comprehensive review of the Zonai runes. Before we get started, let's take a quick look at a few common features of writing systems across the series, starting with Hylian. I'm not going to cover the glyphs from the Book of Mudora from A Link to the Past, because they don't provide readable text. Our first encounter with kana-based Hylian was back in Ocarina of Time. It features base hiragana syllables, notably without dakuten or handakuten. What are those? To provide a simplified explanation, they are diacritic marks that change the sound of a syllable. For example, dakuten for ka would be ga, handakuten for ka would be nga. Kana-based Hylian saw many improvements in the Wind Waker. It supports dakuten and handakuten, along with the numerals and basic punctuation. It wasn't until Twilight Princess that we got our first Latin-based alphabet. Beyond letters, it features basic punctuation but no numerals. We saw that again in Skyward Sword, just without that punctuation, and then with variants of Hylian from Skyward Sword used in A Link Between Worlds, Breath of the Wild, and now Tears of the Kingdom. The most important thing about the most recent incarnations of Latin-based Hylian is that the alphabets are actually polyalphabetic, which means that multiple Latin characters share the same symbol. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to refer to those as doubles from here on out. Hylian has undergone quite an evolution over the years. Gerudo, however, has maintained the same alphabet since its introduction in Ocarina of Time. It features basic punctuation and numerals for 1 and 5. Finally, we got a language for the Sheikah with the release of Breath of the Wild. It is one of the most complete alphabets, featuring numeral symbols for 0 through 9, along with basic punctuation. You might be asking, why does any of this matter for solving Zonai? Well, the past behaviors on the part of the creator may be a clue for solving Zonai. For example, Zonai has 14 runes. If it is Latin-based, that would mean that all but 2 runes would have doubles to cover 26 letters. With that out of the way, let's dig into the findings and talk through what makes them interesting. We've conducted hundreds of tests in the past 16 months, but for the sake of time, I'm only going to cover the most interesting findings. The first set, labeled as the demo test, is one of the most interesting tests we've conducted based on the idea that the runes represent a partial Latin-based alphabet. You can see limited deployment of the concept of doubles in this test. In this test, we get the words side and demo on the shrine torches, item on the item shrine-based item dispensers. The most interesting finding in this test was that it placed the word daichi on the stone lotus in the stone room. Daichi means the land, ground, or earth. It's commonly found in the Japanese text across several games in the series. The word is common enough that it may not be significant here. There is, however, an alternate definition, which means supreme wisdom or sagacious, which fits the room better. Ultimately, we couldn't complete the test because we ran out of vowels in places that would require them to make sense. I haven't ruled it out as a potential pathway for the future. If anything, much of the testing after this test was to try and disprove that a better solution exists. On the way to trying out substitutions for the demo test, we found a different and parallel set of findings, labeled as the done test. It holds similarities in that the word done can be found on the side of the torch and the terminal at the end of shrines. It places the word saichi on the stone lotus. One interpretation for saichi could be distinguished wisdom, which I could see being a fit. Ultimately, it has more problems than the done test, and it doesn't feel like a path forward. Somewhere in the middle of testing, Zelda Lore, who you might know as a professional Gloomhands escape artist, made an observation about the Light Ring quest in Tears of the Kingdom and the countdown for the Light Ring quest in Breath of the Wild. It provided us with one of the only concrete pieces of evidence that the runes are tied to something real. During the quest, runes disappear as part of a countdown, providing us with these numbers for 10 of the 14 runes. I really thought when I heard about this discovery that we would be done with the runes in a matter of days. Numbers alone can apply to all kinds of things. Alas, we still have no complete solution. The numerous Latin-based tests are leading me towards a conclusion about the meaning of the runes. They may very well be ideographic. Not all of our findings are based in testing. Some have come through hours of research about the origins of early seal script and ancient religious beliefs. The recent Nintendo Dream interview featuring Eiji Aonuma and Hidemaru Fujibayashi revealed connections to research we were actively doing at the time. Hidemaru Fujibayashi told Nintendo Dream, quote, "In that cutscene, Raoru used his sealing powers to draw out Ganondorf's magic from his heart and purify it. The released purified magic became a spiral of light. Also, this has to do with the lore of Hyrule Castle, but the original Hyrule Castle was not at that location. We see Ganondorf sealed right under the place of Hyrule Castle in our hero's time, which was the best location to keep him sealed. It is like a dragon vein. And Hyrule Castle is one part of the barrier that helps release Raoru's purification of the evil magic." To explain the meaning behind Fujibayashi's words, I've asked my good friend Raoru for help.
Fujibayashi-san is referring to the meridian system. The meridian system is a network of channels in the body, which are paths through which life energy, known as qi, flows. Meridians date back as far as the Zhou dynasty, and the oldest interpretations show 12 principal meridians and 2 center-line meridians. It's important to note why I was purifying his evil magic instead of attempting to destroy him with violence. The purpose of purification rituals is not to punish the person, but rather to remove the affliction.
Thank you so much, Raoru. In my mind, looking at the relation of the runes to the meridian system is the next logical place to look. Even if we can only find concrete evidence that they are in fact tied to meridians, that would be enough for me. In the event that all of our work leads nowhere, I've still got one more theory about what they could mean. We know that there are numbers tied to at least 10 of the runes. The legacy of the Zonai lives on primarily in their technology and the constructs. If it turns out that our only tie to real-world linguistics for the runes lay in numerals, I would pose the idea that maybe the runes exist as a way for the constructs to read and communicate. I wouldn't go as far as to suggest that they function like binary, but perhaps like hexadecimal or even tetradecimal systems. Ultimately, without any additional books or information from Nintendo, we may never get confirmation about individual meaning unless we find something so conclusive that it's hard to deny. Over the last 16 months, I've had the fortune of meeting so many amazing people. I think if nothing else, the real journey was the friends we made along the way. Thank you for watching. If you have theories of your own, I'd love to hear about them. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below.